Assalamu alaikum, Run Things Rude Boy. Nabil Aziz, BecomingTheAlphaMuslim.com, and the Becoming the Alpha Muslim podcast. Welcome to another episode, and this week we're going to be talking about strength training during Ramadan. I wrote a post last year, the Ramadan Strength Training guide, a Muslim meathead's guide. And I wrote this post because a lot of the advice that I found online was either given out by non-Muslims who had no idea what it was like to fast during Ramadan, no eating, no drinking for sometimes 15-18 hours straight, or they were given out by Muslims who didn't have a normal daily routine, so they were able to sleep all day and stay up at night. And what we're going to do is we're going to go through some of that bad advice, and I'm going to explain why it's bad. And I'm going to tell you what I do instead that is, so I believe to be, more optimal. And I'm going to talk about a little experiment that I'm going to try this year to sort of switch up my routine. Now, this post is not really about, gaining strength while burning fat during Ramadan or maintaining your muscle while burning fat during Ramadan. None of that. The purpose of Ramadan is your ibadah. That's what you should optimize your life around. Now, for a lot of people, strength training is just part of their lifestyle. This post is just a resource for them to be able to maintain that lifestyle while getting the most out of Ramadan. So they're not adding something extra to their month just to take advantage of the fasting and maybe ruin their niyyah that way, their intention that way. They're just continuing their normal routine in order to maintain their lifestyle. Okay. Now, there's something important that a lot of people need to know, is that it doesn't matter what you do during Ramadan, unless you're severely overeating, you are going to lose muscle, and you're probably going to lose weight. And if you don't do Ramadan right, you're going to gain fat. And the worst is that you're going to gain weight and get fat during Ramadan, which is what happens to a lot of people. Because they just, their lifestyle, their eating habits go to shit. The main thing to keep in mind is that Ramadan is in the summertime now, so the time between Maghrib and Isha is very short, and the time between Isha and Fajr is also very short. So that means that you have very little time to eat and very little time to sleep. I mean, for a lot of people, when Fajr is extremely early, they have quite a bit of time to sleep after Fajr. But I'm talking about, in Dubai, there won't be as much time to sleep after Fajr as, some other people. So the first advice is given by this guy, Mehdi. He's the creator of the Strong Lifts 5x5 program. And his advice is, okay, it's pretty decent. He talks about lifting before iftar, then breaking your fast, then having dinner again, or 2 dinners before bed, and then waking up, having breakfast, and then having a couple of naps during the day. The only problem is Mehdi is not a Muslim, and he doesn't fast, so he hasn't accounted for the time that you need to pray. He hasn't accounted for Maghrib, Isha, Tarawih, Tahajjud, any of that. So his advice doesn't really count. You're not going to be able to get this many meals in if you're, a fasting Muslim. But otherwise, the advice is pretty decent. He's got you doing a short workout. Not that many exercises, and then you spend the rest of the time recovering, and you're getting a decent amount of sleep. The only problem is that he's not a Muslim and he doesn't know that you have to pray. The second person who gives bad advice is Scooby. Now everybody knows Scooby. Scooby is the online YouTube fitness guru. If you're into, strength training or bodybuilding, you know who he is. He gives you two options. The first option is to train after Fajr. And that sort of makes sense if you consider the fact that you've just had suhoor and you've drunk enough water. But then what happens when you're done training? If you're doing a strength training routine, you're breaking down your muscles, you're dehydrating your body, you're using up all the glycogen in your muscles. What happens when your fast is, 15 plus hours, 18 hours long? You're going to be walking around in a, sore, tired, dehydrated stupor the entire day. The second option he gives is between Maghrib and Isha. Now, that's fine if you're training at home, if you have enough training equipment at home. But look at the time that you have to train between Maghrib and Isha. It's going to be, 1 hour or less. So you have to keep your workout short, and then you have to somehow get a meal in before Isha, and then go to Isha and come back and pray, and come back and eat again. Okay, so it's already you're going to be rushed. But what if you don't have training equipment at home? What if you have to go to the gym? Then you have to account for travel time to and from. You need to account for the time that you need to take to, warm up. And I don't know about you guys, but when I'm squatting heavy, it takes me like 20 minutes to get up to my working weight. So from this standpoint, training between Maghrib and Isha, if you have to train at gym, logistically, it's difficult. If you're training at home, that's another story. But again, then you have to keep your workout short. The third piece of bad advice is by Amna al-Haddad. Amna al-Haddad is an Emirati weightlifter and CrossFitter. Now, she starts off talking about the goal for many who train in Ramadan is to reduce body fat, to maintain or gain strength through preserving lean muscle mass. What? That's what Ramadan is for? First of all, this is like bro science, okay? First of all, you're not getting stronger unless you're adding weight to the bar, okay? And to recover from adding weight to the bar, allowing you to continue adding weight to the bar, you need to be in a caloric surplus. So you have to eat a lot, okay? And it's tough to get a caloric surplus during Ramadan unless you're completely stuffing yourself until you have, biryani coming out of your ears. And the second thing is that you're not getting leaner unless you're in a caloric deficit. So how are you gonna, get stronger and get leaner at the same time? It's doable, but yeah, there are some conditions that need to be involved, that need to be fulfilled before it can happen. And most of the time that's not going to happen, especially if you're a weightlifter training weightlifting style, So her advice, her advice is, she says she trains a few hours after iftar. Okay. And that's fine. But then when does she pray? When does she pray a Taraweeh? And when does she recover? When does she get her meals in? Probably, since she's a weightlifter, she doesn't actually have, I don't know if she has a job, but she doesn't have a day job probably. So she's probably staying up at night and getting her meals in that way. So that's not practical for us. And the fourth, and this is the worst advice, is this natural bodybuilder, Rehan Jalali. Now, the reason I say this is the worst advice is because people are not going to sort of scrutinize it, because he has a very good physique, and he's got all the letters after his name. He's got the certifications, and he's into a supplement. He's a supplement consultant and all of that stuff. So they're not going to scrutinize his advice, and that's a problem because he's giving you a lot of bad advice. Okay, so the first thing is that he's talking about consuming a crap ton of supplements that you don't need at all. Okay, He's saying that you got to drink a bunch of, powders and eat, protein bars and all kind of stuff, when none of that is needed. You just need whole food, basically. Talking about BCAAs and all of this stuff, nonsense. And then there's the bro science. He's talking about eating several small meals at night so you can trick your body into speeding up your metabolic rate. And talking about you have to shock your body to constantly lose fat and gain muscle over the long run. This is nonsense. And the third thing is that he doesn't have a day job either. So he's up doing his eating and working, and then he sleeps all day. Okay? So this is the problem with his advice. Now, because he is who he is, in that he has a very good physique, and he's a credible authority in fitness and nutrition, his advice has been syndicated on Muslim Matters, on Virtual Mosque and Productive Muslim, when it's not applicable to the vast majority of people who have regular lives. And that's a problem. You're not going to be able to adhere to his advice, because you've got to work during the day and you've got to sleep at night. So my solution was to actually train before iftar, and then that way I have enough time to get a few meals and I have enough time to sleep. Now, the problem with training before iftar is that you're dehydrated. And when you're dehydrated, your performance suffers. So you have to reduce the volume in that you can't do as many sets, and you have to reduce the weight that you're using. You still have to lift heavy, but you won't be able to lift as heavy as you would if you had, if your muscles were hydrated. So what I would do is I would, get to the gym about 2 hours to an hour and a half before iftar. I would train for about an hour and a half, and then by the time I get home, within 15 minutes or so, it's time. I have enough time to shower, and then it's time for iftar. And then what I would do is I would have iftar, drink a bunch of water, go pray Maghrib, come back, have dinner, go to Isha, come back, have a shake or another small meal, and then sleep. And then I would wake up for suhoor, have a meal, and probably have a shake as well. And then that's how that was my routine. And I would make sure to drink at least a half a liter of water every 30 minutes to an hour. So, excuse me, I would time that with the prayer. So, iftar, half a liter. Once I'm done with Maghrib, another half a liter. Before going to Isha, another half a liter. After Taraweeh, another half a liter. As soon as I wake up, half a liter. With my meal or just after my meal, another half a liter. But that way, I was able to get, at least 2.5 to 3 liters of water during the day, and that helps a lot. So that was how I would manage my nutrition. The training, I was doing Repetose starting strength, because I only need to be in the gym 3 times a week, and because it's a full body program that only has like 5 lifts. So it's very, very easy to do. Get in, do the workout, get out. And then you're getting a full body workout with not that much time spent in the gym, which is good as well. What I was eating, I was trying to eat, I try to eat more clean during Ramadan, because I find that it helps me stay awake during prayer much better. So I stay away from a lot of the greasy food. Well, once in a while, if I get invited out to like an iftar or something, I'll have to. They serve, the biryani and things like that, and I'll indulge then. But otherwise, I'm eating, roasted chicken, vegetables, salad, a bit of carbs, protein shakes, and that's about it. I'll eat steak, maybe some salmon, just simple food, as simple as possible. I probably get in more vegetables during Ramadan than I do any other time of the year, because I'm trying to eat so clean. So that's what I've been doing for the past 3 or 4 years. This year, I'm doing something a little different because for the past 2 months, I've been lifting weights 4 times a week, pretty high volume. So 25 to 30 sets, 5 to 6 movements. And I've been eating for, muscle growth. So during training days, I'm eating to the point of, discomfort. And I think, Ramadan is a really good time for me to now, take a break from the heavy training and the eating, especially the eating. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a deload, which is where I'll, cut back the volume significantly. I'll still keep it quite heavy, but I'm only going to do maybe 1 to 2 movements a workout, and maybe 4 to 10 sets max. And that's the way I'm going to cut back on the training. I'll probably still train 4 days a week. I haven't decided whether I'll train between Maghrib and Isha or before Iftar. I can train between Maghrib and Isha if I wanted, because I have dumbbells and a barbell at home, and I can create a simple 2 movement workout using free weights and body weight exercises, and that shouldn't take you more than 20 to 30 minutes to complete, and then you still have time to eat and all of those things. So it'll depend on how I feel. If I'm feeling really run down, I might just train between Maghrib and Isha. For my nutrition, I'm probably just going to eat 1 meal a day, and that'll be dinner. Plus, I'll have a protein shake either during or after my training, and that's about it. Suhoor will be just dates and water. Iftar also will be dates and water with a bit more fruit. Just because at the moment, I'm just so sick of food right now. And I'm going to see if I can manage that. Now, if you've read the studies on fasting and the health benefits of fasting, you'll notice that on the fasted days, the participants were eating well under 1,000 calories a day. It was in the study where they were fasting for 2 days out of the week, they ate 500 to 600 calories. And that's the way you actually get the benefits of fasting. So the next time you see Muslims sharing these health benefits of fasting articles, you need to call them out for being dummies, because most Muslims eat 5 to 7 times that amount. They're eating like 3,000-4,000 calories. Some of them are eating way more than they would ever eat outside of Ramadan. So they're not getting any of the health benefits of fasting. Trust me, they are just gaining weight and screwing up their hormones. So I'm gonna see if I can manage the 1 meal